That is a concrete wall separating Sky Spa from us. 35 inches along this wall, you'll see a saw cut. So 35 inches from that wall is where this saw cut is going to be. Also note that this saw cut is a small distance, about an inch from this edge. We'll call that the west edge, not the left edge, but the west edge of this grout line that goes all the way up and down the wall. This doorway for the walk-in cooler is cut all the way over here to 40.5 inches wide. All right, I think Jimmy's crew already cut this. So that cut is along that seam, and you can see all the way up and down that seam on the building. That'll be a reference point when we look outside. All right, now side note on that reference seam, it looks like air or moisture can get in there. It looks like we might have to seal this. We'll have to talk to someone that knows concrete better, because it looks like through the years, it looks like discoloration there from moisture perhaps getting through that crack and getting inside the wall. So a lot of good it does to put insulation and put a fur wall here if moisture can get through this crack. So we have to talk to someone about what we're supposed to fill that with. But in any event, we're cutting our doorway to the walk-in cooler right there. And you can see the top edge. The top edge is up here. It's already been scored. It's not cut all the way through. It's just telling you where the doorway is going to be. All right, so I'm going to pause the video right now, and I'm going to pick up at other measurements in a second. Once again, I just want to point out that it's 35 inches from the inside of this firewall between us and Sky Spa and the easternmost edge of our doorway. This is the wall that adjoins the manager's office. This is where the little electrical panel is. This is the hallway back to the kitchen. The corner of this wall to this edge of this metal 2x4, all the way to the inside of that concrete wall that you just saw me measure a second ago, is 355 inches from the inside of that concrete wall to the corner of this, assuming I measured it correctly, which is a big assumption because I suck at measurement. All right. You need a little bit of space between your drywall over here and the trim of whatever doorway you have and your walk-in cooler door. So I opted to adjust the walk-in cooler entranceway to line up with the seam in the concrete. And the main reason for that is the distance between this seam here, and you got to go up at one cinder block, this seam over here, that is 40 inches roughly. And the doorway needs to be 40.5 inches, just like the other cooler door was. So that's what we're going to make it, is 40.5 inches wide by 88 and a quarter tall. Okay? And you'll see above it, I put a yellow line in chalk. That is where an 8-foot cooler wall would be. All right? And I already have another reference point over here. Look up there, you see a hole in the water that punches through to the outside and water comes through. This is right on this seam right here, this grout seam between those two cinder blocks, the mortar seam, whatever you want to call it, not grout, mortar. I know for a fact that on the outside of this wall, because I've already hopped the fence out there once, 32 inches over, which is two cinder blocks, 1, 2, 32 inches over at this seam, this is where I need to put a cooler wall, walk-in cooler wall that is 4 inches thick. Your cooler panels are 4 inches thick. The reason I know that is this part of the wall right here on the other side of these blocks are where two green tubes come up that look like this. They're for the beer lines. One goes to this patio bar, the other one goes to the VIP bar, but they go underneath the ground, they punch through the footer wall down here, they go up and they come up, and they need to be inside the walk-in cooler. So the walk-in cooler, the wall for the walk-in cooler must be on this side of where the beer lines, the chilled beer lines will come in to where the kegs go back there. All right? So that wall cannot be moved. That's why it's painted in yellow. It's approximately 4 inches wide. On the outside of this wall is where the cooler panel will go. And when I'm out there, I have a video that shows, hey, I'm leaving approximately 1 inch between the cooler and where those tubes come up, so we have room to tile the floor or put corner molding or whatever it is that goes down at the base of your walk-in cooler so moisture doesn't get in. You got to have a little bit of room for a flange there. So there's 1 inch of space between that and the tubes. All right. And my reference hole is that hole. That's what I'm measuring from. So 32 inches over from that. Okay. In my outside video, I will tell you that the outside of the patio, the existing wall of the patio, is this green mark right there. And that green mark is 64 inches over to the right edge of my walk-in cooler wall. So this is 32 inches from my reference hole. If you go 2 inches over, you're 30 inches from my reference hole. My reference hole is up there, all right? That is if you put the patio wall right next to the walk-in cooler wall, at most you can move the smoking patio wall over 64 inches. We probably should move it over 63 inches because you probably should have a little bit of space between one wall and the other. I don't know. That's a construction question for someone that knows what they're doing, not me. But that green mark right there, that is where the existing patio ends on the outside. And I've confirmed the measurement by counting the cinder blocks all the way over to our existing entryway. There's 18.5 cinder blocks from my mark on the wall to this edge of this doorway. And if I count the 18.5 blocks on the outside, I can confirm where our patio is. I stepped on the outside of our patio wall where the walk-in cooler is, and I measured how much we can move over, and we can move that wall over 64 inches, approximately 64 inches. So I wanted to show the inside reference. So that's where our walk-in cooler door is going to go. And over here, Harry was approximating, but he actually got it correct. I came behind him and just kind of made the measurement a little bit neater. This is where the new doorway for the smoking patio will be. So that's the new hole in the wall for the smoking patio. 40.5 inches wide, 88.25 tall is what you cut the opening, and then you put your frame in, and it ends up looking like this door right here, except over here we'll have a window in the new door. It'll swing the same way, it'll swing that way. So someone already wrote the measurements, 40.5, 88.25. Someone else wrote that, but I just spray painted it all the way up and down so you can see where it is. All right, that's that. All right, I'm gonna pause the video for now, and when I go outside, I'll pick it up from there.